And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back. The Jaguars draft has concluded. It's always a good time, right? I always, as fun as draft season is, I'm always pretty excited when it's actually over because, first of all, it gets talked about like crazy. I get kind of tired of seeing all these mock drafts on Twitter, and I am just happy that we can now kind of take an introspective look and actually see what we did and how we as a team can move forward, right? We can start ignoring all the teams around us. We have to stop looking at, okay, who are the Patriots going to grab? Hey, the Raiders right behind this. Now it doesn't matter, okay? And also now I can't be on Team Tank next year, even if we're bad, because we don't have a first round pick. So I'm kind of relieved that that's out of here, but I don't think the Jaguars will have to worry about that. But shout out to everybody in the chat. I think Seabreacher already has a comment of the day. James Gladstone gives me an extra bone. Yeah, that's it's pretty cool. I'm really excited about this draft. I'll be honest with you, and I think mainly just because the Jaguars got Travis Hunter, and we have a GM that appears to be able to move all over the draft. I mean, moving from 5 to number 2 in your very first draft and making that big kind of bold move. I mean, you guys know the Jaguars have never not had a first round pick. And that's the Jaguars going to do that first. I mean, we're used to, as the Jaguars, we're used to always moving back. We're used to being the Cleveland Browns, right? Hey, if you guys want to move up and get your superstar, we'll move back and get some extra pick. And the Cleveland Browns might be looking at this pretty bad next year if the Jaguars do win the AFC South and go to like the divisional round of the playoffs. So then the Jaguars are basically giving them pick number 25, 26, 27, right? So hopefully the Jaguars go out there and, really improve on that. And we can look at this and say, that was a hell of a trade. Travis Hunter really is a unicorn, and we have a superstar. Because I think the main thing overall is like we can go through the list of team needs. The Jaguars need wide receiver. We need safety. We need another edge rusher. We need offensive linemen. I think the biggest void, to be honest with you, is superstar. The Jaguars need more superstars. We don't need these solid players where we move back to like the Cleveland Browns, for example. If you're the Cleveland Browns, you're sitting at 2, you're selling yourself on a Travis Hunter, right? But instead they move back to number 5 overall and take Mason Graham. I think there's a big difference there. They pick up a second-round pick. They probably got a pretty good player there, right? And let's say they get a pretty good player with the Jaguars' first-round pick next year. They essentially moved back and got 3 pretty good players, but the Jaguars got a superstar, right? Like, I will take a superstar. If you guys could package up a deal and trade away in a hypothetical situation, hey, you guys want Anton Harrison, you guys want Devon Hamilton, you guys want Jarian Jones. We'll trade you guys that for a Jamar Chase, right? Like, that's kind of what we're talking about here. It's like, oh, these guys are all pretty good players. We're going to miss them, but getting a player like a Jamar Chase that completely shifts your franchise, right? It puts you in a different direction. That's what the Jaguars have right now. We have a superstar in Travis Hunter. And I think not only myself, not only Jaguar fans, I think the whole entire NFL is going to be fascinated to see the way they are able to manage him at both positions. I mean, I want him to start off a wide receiver. I think that's not only the biggest need, but I think that you can have the most impact there, because a perfect cornerback can't guard a perfect pass and a perfect catch to a wide receiver, right? I just think they have a lot more to offer at the wide receiver spot. Thinking about pairing Brian Thomas Jr. with Travis Hunter is awesome. And we also think about, a lot of us believe in Trevor Lawrence, but a lot of us, when we talk about believing in Trevor Lawrence, we have to make $1.5 million excuses, right? So getting Travis Hunter, you got him another weapon. You got him the offensive-minded head coach. You brought in 6 new offensive linemen. You brought in like 2 running backs. I mean, it's kind of put up or shut up at this point, right? There's not that many excuses that can be made. It feels like we have a good organization around him, and it's really exciting. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Isaiah says top 5 wide receiver core. Vinny disagrees with me, and Helios agrees with me. Hey, that's a great thing, right? So, with that said, I thought trading up was awesome. I also thought trading back was pretty cool. Jaguars traded back for number 70 to number 102, and the Jaguars picked up 2 third-round picks in that process, right? And I really wonder if the Jaguars had stayed at number 5, would they have made that move? Was it more of a move that they said, hey, we need to get more draft picks next year? And then now that you look at the Jaguars in 2026, they don't have a first-round pick, but they have 4 picks in the first 3 rounds. So that'll give not only the Jaguars the ability to draft more players there, but maybe the ability to package some stuff up and move up a little bit more. It just gives you a lot more flexibility, and hopefully the Jaguars are drafting in the 20s, and it's just we look back and say that trade was pretty awesome. That trade was pretty awesome. So, um, with that said, essentially with the Browns, like you gave them, your pick, you swap 4th rounders, and I think kind of at the end of it, the main impact, and there were some day 3 things involved, was basically you gave up a 2nd round pick and you gave up a 1st round pick. And I think people are saying, oh, that is way too much to trade up 3 spots. You can't look at it like that. You have to look that you traded for Travis Hunter. You can't be like, oh, you moved up 3 spots. This isn't, no, you made this trade for Travis Hunter. They gave away a superstar to kind of get a base hit, right? And the Jaguars went out there and got the superstar. The Browns do that a lot. The Browns trade back. I mean, they were involved in the Julio Jones trade. They were involved in some trades where they traded back, and maybe this is another situation like that. So, yeah, the Jaguars went aggressive, and we have a crew that seems pretty confident. So we'll see how it plays out. Now, some other guys, the Jaguars drafted Caleb Ransaw out of Tulane. At first, when I saw cornerback jump up on the screen, I was like, cornerback? What are we doing here? But he's going to actually start off at safety. And the Jaguars added some speed here. He's played nickel. He's played outside. He's played safety for Tulane. He ran a 4.33 40-yard dash. He's a great tackler. So the Jaguars obviously really needed a safety. And there's a very good chance that he could be a day 1 starter on the other side of Eric Murray because, what else do we have? I was going through this roster earlier. I mean, this safety unit is going to be really confusing to see who actually makes the roster. Antonio Johnson, is he safe? I don't know. Eric Murray safe. Darnell Savage, don't know what the contract looks like. Daniel Thomas has been on the team forever. Andrew Wingard, could he finally see the end of his line? He survived plenty of regimes, right? He's been with Doug Marrone. He's been with Urban Meyer. He's been with Doug Peterson. He's been with it all. So we'll see what happens. Seabridge said, did you see the Hunt trailer? I have not seen it. I'll be honest with you. I have not seen it. Man, I agree with you. I don't think we gave him too much to get Travis Hunter. He is arguably the best player in this entire draft. And yeah, that's the way you got to look at it. I mean, we didn't, and it's also different. Like in the 2016 draft, maybe you would say that you gave up too much. Let me look at the 2016 draft real quick. NFL draft. Because I think this is a pretty good thing to compare it to because the Jaguars had. So in the first 5 picks, you had Jared Goff, Carson Wentz, right? I mean, 2 quarterbacks. That's obvious. Then you had Joey Bosa, Ezekiel Elliott, and Jalen Ramsey. I mean, all these guys made Pro Bowls. Like, if you had traded from 5 to number 2 in that one and grabbed, like, Joey Bosa, yeah, that would have been a reach because you have all these blue-chip prospects there, right? And even behind Ronnie Stanley and DeForest Buckner. But there is a much steeper drop-off. Like, the comparison, the drop off between Joey Bosa and Jalen Ramsey, they're kind of right there, right? But the drop off between like a Travis Hunter and a Mason Graham is pretty large, right? So the Jaguars, instead of settling for a pretty good player, the Jaguars got probably a superstar. So, and yeah, the Jaguars not only stole the draft, they stole the Titans fans are really upset because they drafted Cam Ward, and instead of doing all this coverage there, boom, the Jaguars made the trade, and then everybody was talking about the Jaguars. So that is another really cool thing to look at. Did we pay too much for Hunter? I don't think so. Essentially, like I said earlier, you basically gave up a 2nd-round pick in next year's first. And if that 1st-round pick is in the 20s, that'd be fantastic. Now, if Hunter doesn't do very good and we're drafting in the top 5, and then you're saying Trevor Lawrence was terrible this year and needing the quarterback, then we can maybe revisit this. But I'm operating on the basis that, yeah, we're finally going to hopefully unlock Trevor Lawrence, and we can finally, with having a better coaching staff that isn't tapped out, that we don't have the head coach and GM having a piss contest over Mason Graham. I mean, clearly one takeaway from this draft is you drafted no defensive tackles. So clearly they like what they have in Eric Armstead, and they like what they had in Mason Smith. Mason Smith improved a lot over the course of this last year. It was very strange, and it almost seems like a situation where Doug Peterson was kind of sticking it to Trent Baalke. So it was just very, very weird. Yeah, Duval Paul, I agree with you. It's kind of annoying that Shadur Sanders talked the whole draft, And it's kind of annoying people saying like, oh, what are teams doing? This is so disrespectful. If teams want to draft them, they can draft them, right? I don't think his dad was helping out much, but now he's going to the Cleveland Browns. It's kind of a crazy quarterback room there. Drafted Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round. Later on, drafted Shadur. So, yeah, who knows what's going on there. So, yeah, Caleb Bransaw, I thought a pretty good pick. Now, I think my favorite value pick here is Wyatt Millum, offensive guard out of West Virginia. Mean run blocker. He played left tackle in college, but he's going to probably get the start at guard. And a big reason why he dropped, actually, I want to read this one real quick. He says, as a Titans fan, I wasn't as much mad about the trade getting talked about after Cam was announced. It was more about before the pick. All ESPN wanted to talk about was Shadur. Yeah, Shadur. I was just happy he was finally drafted, and like people are talking about. There's a big conspiracy that somehow teams are getting together and trying to blackball Shadur Sanders. Like, let's get real here. Like, if teams really wanted this guy, they would have picked him. They don't care, but is what it is. Didn't bother me too much. I don't let that kind of stuff bother me a lot, but yeah, that's something. So yeah, with Wyatt, the big reason why he dropped was that at the Senior Bowl, he played guard and he didn't look very good. So, but with that said, guys, no sacks and only 1 quarterback hit in his 3 years as a starter, this last 3 years. That was insane, right? That was insane. So I think the Jaguars got a really good value here. I like the meanness that he shows on tape. And one thing I like is they're showing stuff like just his block at the next level, right? He can move good. He can pull good. He can get to that next level. He can push guys over. The Jaguars clearly did not like coming in here what the offensive line looked like, and they added 6 new offensive linemen, 4 of them through free agency and 2 through the NFL draft. So we'll see how that shakes out. But and apparently one thing that Nick Saban said on the set was that they tried to get him to transfer to Alabama so many times throughout his career, but he always decided to stay loyal and stick to West Virginia. So that was kind of interesting. Round 4 pick number 104, the Jaguars get the running back in Bashal Tutin, running back out of Virginia Tech. Now, he was kind of mocked a lot to like the 49ers and the Dolphins because he's kind of that Shanahan type of running back. He's a short 5'9" guy, but he's extremely speedy. Another fast guy, 4'3", 240-yard dash. He's a home run player. He does have his struggles with fumbling, but I think that can be corrected. Now, when you look at things, what are the running back roles on this team, right? Me personally, I think Tank Bigsby should be the first and second down running back. ETN should be the third down running back on passing downs. And I think that Tutin will start off kind of being the change of pace back, right? He can help stretch the field, give him the ball in a pitch and see what he does. And I think that he'll have a big role in special teams with the way the new kickoffs are. They're moving it from the 30-yard line to the 35-yard line. So I imagine there's going to be a lot more returns this next year. So I think with having Tutin and Parker Washington back there, I think that's a pretty good duo. I mean, we saw Parker Washington return a kickoff last year. Did he return a kickoff or did he return no, I think it was a punt. The kickoffs sucked last year, but yeah, we've seen him be pretty good on kick returns. I think what I'm thinking about is, he returned a long one against the Kansas City Chiefs in the preseason is what I'm thinking about in my head. So yeah, there should be some undrafted free agent signings coming in. So we'll kind of take a look at that. But yeah, the running back room, we were talking about maybe getting Ashton Jeanty. We don't look like ETN is probably safe on this team, even though they did draft 2 running backs. But you're not going to get much trade capital for ETN, especially now. Like, you might get a day 3 or next year. Not doing much. Jonah got signed to center offensive line. Okay. So I guess undrafted free agent signings are rolling in. And that's one thing that James Gladstone has been really good at, and is, he kind of led up the undrafted free agent process for the Los Angeles Rams. So we'll see with that. What do we do with Keelan Robinson? Let him compete, because he didn't show anything last year, so he's definitely not safe. So next up, probably my least favorite pick, the Jaguars get Jack Kaiser, who's like an off-ball linebacker out of Notre Dame. Now, he is I don't know. I don't think he'll start off as a starter on this team, but I do think he'll be a core 4 special teamer. Caleb Johnson is not on the team anymore, who's been kind of that role the last several years. One thing about him, would be 25 years old in September. He spent 6 years at Notre Dame, but extremely smart guy. He was a captain, really high GPA. Ended his career with 275 tackles, 16 tackles for losses, 6 sacks, and 4 interceptions. So definitely has quite the resume on that end. So, with that said, don't really like the value of getting a linebacker here, especially with all the linebackers we've been getting. I mean, we have linebackers like crazy right now, right? But what is the future at linebacker? I mean, you could see a situation where maybe Devin Lloyd and Foye Oluokun aren't on a team next year. So outside of that, you have Chad Muma, who's going into the last year of his deal. So yeah, maybe you see a revamped tight end room, and maybe this guy turns into a starter at some point. If not this year, maybe next year. So they clearly see something in him. I don't think that you're going to draft a core 4 special teamer in the 4th round, but we'll see kind of how he develops. Now, Jaguars don't have another pick for a while. Then they drafted at pick number 194 in round 6, Jalen McLeod, edge rusher out of Auburn. Now, he kind of played between off-ball linebacker and edge, but I would stick him at edge, get him to learn that spot, and see if he can turn into your edge 3. It's just kind of crazy that the Jaguars waited this long to address the 3rd edge rusher, but 8 sacks last year. He was a leader at Auburn. We'll see if he turns into something. Sometimes around 6 guys and around 7 guys are looking to make the roster, so we'll see kind of how he develops. Next up, Ram Lane III, safety out of Navy, which I don't know how many Navy players from Navy have actually been drafted, but he was a 4-year starter, another speedy guy, 94th percentile on speed, 244 tackles in his career, 7 interceptions, and 28 passes defensed. I imagine he'll be a special teamer as well as like a competition thing. Apparently, he will be fully transitioning into an edge. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, 8 sacks in the SEC is pretty legit. That's for sure, especially when you see all the tackles that are getting drafted. Now, we'll round this out. Final 2 picks. You have Jonah Mohim, a center out of USC. Of course, Tony Baselli has to get an offensive lineman from USC, right? So he's played right tackle, center, guard, and left tackle. It looks like he's coming in as a center. I like this guy. He does really well in zone-heavy run schemes, and he's also a guy that moves downfield really well. So hopefully the Jaguars added 2 pretty good interior offensive lineman pieces, and I mean, hopefully round 7 is kind of what it is. They're sometimes looking to make the team, but we'll see if they can kind of get his full potential out. And the Jaguars ended this one with LaQuint Allen, running back out of Syracuse. He's a different type of running back. He's more of a 3rd down back. He actually led the FBS in receptions with 64 receptions and 529 yards receiving. And he also has a really good run block grade. So I don't know what we do with all of our running backs. I mean, like we were saying earlier, let's go ahead and look at the depth chart. The Jaguars at it right now have only 3 running backs on a roster, actually, before the draft. Tank Bigsby, Travis Etienne, Keelan Robinson. You add LaQuint Allen in the mix, and you also add Brayshaw Tootin in there, too. I mean, Tootin will be a roster lock. We'll just see kind of the competition between LaQuint and Keelan Robinson. So, yeah, that kind of is what it is, man. That's a Jaguars draft. Look, and I'm going into the situation of I'm going to trust James Gladstone until I can't trust him anymore. So I'm going to give him all the benefit of the doubt with this draft. I love the way he navigated the first 2 days of the draft. And I love that we were able to come away with what we perceive as a superstar. And yeah, it's really, really cool. It feels like we have new life in here. And when you look at the way the Jaguars ended things, 9 players, 5 on offense and 5 on defense. Now I know 5 plus 5 does not equal 9. Travis Hunter is both ways. So Jaguars get Travis Hunter. That's really exciting. And I'm happy now we can kind of take more of an internal look at this team as we kind of move forward. But let me know what you guys think. I know Joe isn't a huge fan of it. Needing more big dudes at defensive tackle and edge. Would probably agree with you. But I guess the Jaguars feel a lot better about what they have in guys like Mason Smith, Eric Armstead, Jordan Jefferson than maybe we do. But yeah. Gladstones. Yeah, that's been a good one. I've been preaching the coming of Cam Ward. We are in some deep shit. Interesting. A- draft says Figs a 904. That's interesting too. We'll see. I wanted the Ohio State edge rusher. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Only time will tell. And we might not even know in 2025 if this is a good draft, right? We may have to wait until the conclusion of the 2026 season to really know if this turned out to be a good draft. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Do me a huge favor, leave a comment. Thanks to everybody who's been kind of following me along this whole these last couple days. It was awesome doing a live stream at Bottlenose Brewing on Thursday, meeting out with Jason and Jordan. That was a ton of fun. And yeah, we'll see. Thank you guys for watching. Go Jags.